Welcome to Small Business Celebration. We're continuing our series in small business sustainability. And our guest this week, well, he's come all the way from Tunisia to build a very successful online business.
This is Small Business Celebration. Welcome, where we're celebrating small businesses for big breakthroughs.
Welcome to Small Business Celebration. And our guest this week is Dhia Rabiai, the co-owner of Kamsah. Welcome to Small Business Celebration.
Thank you for having me.
For visionaries who don't know who you are, who are you and what is it that you do?
Hi everyone, I'm Dhia Rabiai. I am the co-founder and co-owner of Kamsah, which is a California-based company here in Orange County.
And for visionaries, if I sound a little funny, it's because I have recently gotten over the flu and a really bad cold, and so my voice isn't quite up to scratch yet. But nonetheless, we're here with Dhia because he and his brothers have done something that a lot of online businesses wish they could do or could have done. And we're going to talk more about that in detail on why his online business is doing so well. But in order to understand how that happened, we need a little bit of context first. Now, we're here in Santa Ana, California.
Yes, we are.
And what did you and your brothers do before you started and opened Kamsah?
We are film producers, so we
Okay.
make documentaries mostly,
Right.
not restricted to only documentaries. So before opening Kamsah, that was the main activity that we had.
And what's the name of your production company?
B Entertainment LLC is a production company here in the US.
And is it the letter B, or is it like the flight of the bumblebee with wings and a stinger?
It is the fly, and there is a reason for that,
Okay.
actually. So our mom, who is herself a documentarian, a producer of films,
Right.
she has this incredible energy, and she's extremely resourceful and creative.
Right.
So we like to joke and call her B,
Okay.
because she would go from one of her children to the next and kind of cross-pollinate us with ideas. So it was an honor to call the company after her.
First, explain to Visionary Nation what it is that Kamsah makes and builds and sells online.
So Kamsah curates, creates, and connects cultural experiences. And what we mean by that is my home country, Tunisia, has a very, very long history, which is extremely rich in terms of different civilizations that came and built upon each other. So as a result, the handicraft is really beautiful. Not only it is beautiful, it also has a huge cultural heritage, but also it is useful. The challenge was that people would be able only to get it if they travel to Tunisia.
And for those of us that are geographically challenged, where is Tunisia?
Tunisia is northernmost point in Africa.
Okay.
It is almost the entire country. 2+ of its sides are on the Mediterranean Sea, and that is really its identity. So it is they call it the crossroads of different civilizations. So if you really wanted to get the perfect picture of East meets West, you go to Tunisia.
So historically, Tunisia has been the country of the world where just about every invading army has passed through it at one point in time.
Absolutely, due to its strategic location,
Right.
but not only. Also, it has very fertile lands. A lot of people wanted to settle that, and you'd be surprised. We had the Carthaginian and Phoenician, and then we had the Romans, and then we had the Vikings, and the Arabs, and the Ottomans, all the way to the French, who got away just 75 years ago.
And now it's its own republic.
Absolutely. It is its own republic, and it is a republic and a free and democratic country.
For visionaries that are in California, more specifically Southern California, if you've ever been to Santa Barbara, you've probably seen Tunisian tile because it's everywhere. And how did that happen? Because a lot of the identity of the architecture, especially the tile work of Santa Barbara, is Tunisian. So how did that happen?
It is a funny story, yes. People across the world probably have one part of another in their homes, households, or even lives that come from Tunisia. So the ceramic making and the tile making is something that we take pride in Tunisia, and that comes also from the multicultural aspect. So Tunisia used to have a huge Jewish community that lived there, and one of these artists, his last name is Shamla, is the one that is, his work is featured in Santa Barbara. And the story goes, and I think it's not story goes, I think that's what happened.
Right.
A couple of congressmen visited Tunisia in the 60s,
Right.
and they were struck by how beautiful the ceramic making, especially the tile, we called faience, the tiles that you would put on walls, and that was very beautiful, that they were impressed. And I think they were California congressmen, so when they came here,
Right.
they brought a little bit of that, and people really connected with it. And then a lot of work in Santa Barbara, in parks, in libraries, in buildings, use that same ceramic tile.
There's culturally something very significant that you're doing here at Kamsah. It's the people who are making them. And very briefly, walk us through what the world was like before, what changed, and how you're making a difference for a lot of people back in Tunisia.
This is a loaded question. So Kamsah, we are about the people, whether it's our clients, our business partners, or our artists and makers. When I was in the US being schooled a little over a decade ago, my country, Tunisia, started what is called the Arab Spring. So people collectively but spontaneously, they just rose up and demanded freedom and democracy. That took the world by storm, because usually you think that that applies only to the West. How can a country that is in North Africa, that is culturally Arab, want something like that to happen, right? So they were able, in a very peaceful fashion, to kick out the dictator and to engage in the democratic process. Now, unfortunately, in that area of the world and in neighboring countries, whether regionally or just close culturally,
Right.
that did not sound so good.
Sure, right, sure.
Because if the Tunisian experiment succeeded, one could think that down the line, in 1 or 2 generations, people from those countries would demand the same and say, look at Tunisians, they're living in freedom, in a democratic way, they get to elect their leaders, and they're doing well. We want the same. So over the years, we saw that experiment, which, by the way, I cannot emphasize this enough, only Tunisia, out of all of that Arab Spring, which included a bunch of other countries, only Tunisia has transitioned into democracy. The experiment is not final yet. It's still work in progress,
Right.
but we do elect our elected officials as of now.
And the key to this is the opportunities that you give a very specific group of people.
Yes.
that you do here at
Yes,
Kamsah.
as we mentioned on the top about my mother, who is an incredible woman, that also to a large extent applies to females in Tunisia. The country was founded by a female about 3,000 years ago. And throughout history, despite the different cultures and traditions that came to be, females have always held a very important place in Tunisian culture and life and society. So if we were able to succeed to this point in that democratic transition, it's mostly because of females. I was schooled when I was back there by women, attorneys, doctors, they were all women. It was something normal to see. So when I started seeing the pushback to the democratic transition in Tunisia, we figured that one good thing to do was to actually make sure that females have economic opportunities, are being put to work, and don't necessarily rely on the patriarchal model. And if they do succeed, chances are the household is gonna be in good hands, and the children will not follow any bad ways or extreme ways, if you will.
And it's these fine ladies who do all the artwork.
Absolutely. We owe this to them. 100% of our products are made by females. outside of very few men, and again, this is not discrimination or anything, it is just the way it is. Outside of very, very, very few men, it's mostly females that do the work, this beautiful work. They get to express their talents in an artistic fashion, perpetuate the traditions that are thousands and millennia old, and also make these incredible pieces that people here are enjoying.
If visionaries want to learn more about you and what you're doing here at Kamsah, how do they do that?
You would probably need to go to www.kamsah, that's KAMSAH.com, or just Google Kamsah and go to the About Us section, and you'll find a lot about us.
Social media?
I'm not a social media guy, but that's why it didn't come to mind first.
I'm sure.
But yes, so we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, and Google, and the handle is Kamsah, KAMSAH.
And when we come back, we're going to talk more about how do you make a successful online business? How do you get your presence out there and do it right the first time? And this is something that Dhia and his brothers have done very, very well. And if you enjoy Small Business Celebration, go ahead and like, subscribe, and notify. And we'll talk more about how you can have a successful online business by patterning what Dhia and his brothers have done when we come right back.
The winter season is rapidly approaching, but are the tires on your car or truck ready for wet weather? Bakersfield's best tire store, Cleroux Tire, has been serving families like yours for 80 years and installs and services the tires your family depends on when the wet weather comes. Give Cleroux Tire a call at 661-324-6069 and ask them about what tire works best for you and your budget. Call Cleroux Tire at 661-324-6069 or visit them at 530 East 21st Street in Bakersfield or at ClerouxTire.com today. The wet winter weather is rapidly approaching. Call Cleroux Tire at 661-324-6069 today.
I'm here with Dhia Rabiai, one of the co-owners of Kamsah, and our visionary question comes from Adriana, who asks, our online presence is having difficulty taking off due to the fact that most of our customers want to touch and feel our products before they buy them. What do you suggest that works to grow our online presence?
Well, Adriana, this is literally my wheelhouse.
And the reason we're here.
Yes, our products are extremely visual,
right,
and also people don't know what they do.
Right.
So that's extremely difficult to sell something to somebody if they don't know what the function or the purpose for that product is, or if in pictures or in any kind of media it doesn't come across as it would in real life.
Right.
And finally, I would think that as a small business owner herself, or generally speaking, people, if you don't have the pedigree, if you don't have the history, it's very hard to go online and start from scratch.
If you already don't have name recognition,
there
is
you
what
go.
you're saying, right?
There you
right,
go. There
right.
you go. There are ways to go around this, and it's going to require a lot of patience and a lot of belief in what you do. I would advise starting with smaller trade shows and markets that cater to the kind of same target audience or target market that they want to get involved with. They want to communicate to, hey, we actually have products that serve the purpose or solve the problem you've been experiencing.
Right.
Even if it's very niche, start with that, get exposure, and word of mouth is gonna start doing its magic in time. It's not gonna be from the first or the second or the third,
right,
trade show or little flea market. What's gonna happen at some point?
But you guys, you and your brothers, did something very important, very significant.
Yes.
And it really propelled you beyond the trade show and the flea market.
Yes.
What was that?
So we opted to open retail stores.
You opened a retail store.
Yes, when
Okay.
everybody was running away from retail.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, we figured we had exactly the same questions and challenges than Adriana. We figured that we're a new brand. People don't know about us. People don't know the quality of the products. Heck, some of them don't even know where Tunisia is.
Right,
you
sure,
know?
sure,
So,
right.
so how
Guilty.
so how would you sell them any product at that price point if they don't have any education or knowledge about, you know, what that product is? So to us, opening a retail store, even though in terms of investment it was kind of hefty, but it was worth it to educate the market to what we do, make sure that they know of our presence, also trust us, know that we're dependable, reliable, and that we're short term solid. You know, you can trust us with your business.
You are a real legitimate business, a real
There you
legitimate
go.
company.
I think legitimate would be the right word. You know, and at first people would go back and forth like 100 times before they would buy anything to make sure, you know, that we're still there after. You know?
Right.
So we opened in strategic locations. You know, we opened in Melrose Avenue, which is
Melrose, right?
Yeah, known for its vibrant retail kind of life. And then we opened also in Malibu.
Why did you choose those two locations?
It was to target certain clients. You know, it was to to make it the shorter in terms of distance between us and the client we wanted to target.
But it wasn't cheap.
Absolutely not. And we knew it was not going to be cheap. And we knew, you know, you have to get some. You have to be able to get hit and not fall in order to move forward. You know.
And the education that you learned, because you only had the store for
2 years.
2 years.
Yes.
First of all, why was this strategically planned that you're only going to do this 2 years, or does the store only last 2 years?
No, it was planned. That was in the business plan, which is we still have here. It's probably right there. We wanted to have stores only for 2 years.
Why specifically 2 years?
1 year was too short. 2 years was right about the perfect timing. 3 years would probably get us into a completely different business model.
What? Because it sounds like what you were paying for wasn't necessarily the financial success of the store. You were buying an education.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What were you trying to learn?
So think of it as an art gallery. That's literally how we saw it. Obviously, you make sales, which is good, and some months were better than others. But at the end of the day, you just wanted people, even if they looked you up online, to know that you are in that particular location, and then they could just come and visit you and see those products between their hands. You know, now looking at this or that or any of our products on images online doesn't do it justice.
Right.
Now, if you look online and you see that 1,000 5-star reviews, and then you see that, you know, we had some celebrities come to our stores and things of that nature, and you think, okay, these guys are legit, you know, they're solid. We can trust them with our business.
Once the 2 years was over, how did your business shift and change?
So during those 2 years, we were not just in retail, you know, sitting idle. We were touring the country. You know, I drove one day from Los Angeles all the way to Austin, Texas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, without taking any breaks outside of gas.
Wow.
And as soon as I got there, it was a trade show, so I set up the whole thing, and, you know, like we were making contacts, expanding our clients list, and then drive all the way back. So during those 2 years, even though we had retail stores, we were active, trying to, as I said, expand our footprint.
And that exposure led you to what?
So even though now we don't have retail stores, but we have a pretty good network of retail stores that are still buying our products and selling them. Some of them came from our own retail stores, contacts that we made. Some of them became friends, you know? And some of them, actually, a very nice lady, her husband was Tunisian Jew.
Okay, sure.
And she heard stories about Tunisia. She never visited. So she was like, I have to carry these products. In a way, it's a connection, you know?
Right.
And that's, remember what I said? We connect cultural experiences. That's one of Kamsah creates, curates, and connects cultural experience. This is a live example.
And from that, you've gotten into some big box stores as well.
Yes, so we are in some big box stores, whether it's online. Sometimes, you know, we don't, since we all of our products are handmade. So we have been growing at a pretty fast pace, but there's only so much you can make in 1 month. So maybe like expanding in an entire big box retail chain was not necessarily the soundest move, but we started with, you know, a few stores here and there.
Right.
And you can find our products, you know, pretty much anywhere, like Bed Bath & Beyond, for example, are some of our clients. You know, you can find us in quite a few retailers.
Just out of curiosity, ballpark this for me. How much of your business is online?
I would think definitely more than 50%. Definitely more than 50%. Depending on the time, for example, during COVID, it was
It's 100% online.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
So it depends on the period of time. You know, people tend to shop in different ways
Right.
in different times of the year. You know, so summertime online would be dominant. Holiday season, actual retail physical stores would pick up steam.
When we come back in the next segment, we're going to be talking about getting the attention of said big box stores, big box retailers, when we come right back. The reason we're talking with Dhia today is because of the financial support that comes from visionaries just like you through our Patreon page. Simply go to patreon.com/small business celebration and watch some bonus material, bonus content, and some of the games that we play with our past guests. In the meantime, you also learn bonus information, bonus content that you can use to grow a strong and profitable business. So simply go to patreon.com/small business celebration, where we celebrate another small business making a big breakthrough. I'm here with Dhia Rabiai, the co-owner of Kamsah, and our visionary question comes from John, who asks, in order to get your products into the big retail stores, what have you done that works to get their attention?
First of all, do not compromise quality, or whatever your mission statement is. You have to stay true to your values, because retailers, and not just retail, any business partner, you know, they're there for their own interest,
Right.
not necessarily yours. So they can carry your product, ask you to make certain changes to the way you do things, and then if it doesn't do well, that's it. And then you altered the DNA of your business for them, then it didn't work out, right? So make sure that you succeed with the concept that you had in mind.
Right.
Do not compromise the quality, customer service, and then when you meet them, as we said, you know, for example, one of our clients just happened to come inside the store and they were like, we love this. And we established contact, right?
Right.
But then when they see that you still have been doing the work even before getting with them, you know, clients are happy, any business partner of yours is happy, you're ethical, then they will probably think it's easier to do business with this individual.
When you're talking with the big box retailer, what are the 3 things that you emphasize about the quality of your product to them that differentiates you from everybody else?
I think our value proposition, which is extremely hard to kind of align, is we're good for the makers. You know, we pay them way above average, and that's not, you know, that's not even like a favor. We love doing that.
Right.
When they work, I'll give you an example. We used to have very, very, very high rates of defective products. So when the people who, the artisans who are making our products, felt that they were part of this journey through pay raises and what have you, but not only, we also have other plans for them. The defect rate, the poor quality went down so much, we're almost hitting 100% of great quality products right now without even, like we do very rigorous quality control process. Number 2, we're good for the environment. I think in today's world, people don't just want to buy something to buy something, you know? You're spending your own money, you don't need to be extremely wealthy or successful to have an impact. You can have an impact even with $1 that you're spending. You know, you spend something that is not necessarily wrapped in plastic, but wrapped in something else. So we try to do that. All of our products are earth-friendly, chemical-free, not to hurt the people who are making them, but also not to hurt the planet. We try to go to extreme length to make sure that we're still abiding by that rule. And finally, the final customer, right? When they buy a product, it is good for them, for their it serves a purpose, it solves a problem, but also they're happy that their purchase did not do something that goes against their own values. And when you use it, it's a conversation piece. So it's kind of win-win-win across the board.
You have 2 master's degrees.
Yes, I do.
One is in production. The other is in?
So I have an MBA degree with concentration in entrepreneurship.
And I'm willing to bet you that everything that you learned at university, you've applied flawlessly to your business.
Yes, to a certain extent. You can apply it. You can apply it, but it doesn't mean that you're gonna get the results you budgeted for. So if you're asking about only applying, yes. If you're asking about what happened after you apply it, then I can tell you that's something. I'll tell you a funny story, actually. One of our professors, he's a very good, successful man. I don't know if you can say the name, but Richard Sudek is his name.
And he teaches at Chapman.
He teaches at Chapman now. He's at University of California, Irvine.
Okay.
He set up pretty much the entrepreneurship for both schools, e-village. And the first class, he in concentrating in entrepreneurship for my MBA, the first class he said like, well, nothing that you're gonna learn here is gonna serve you in real life. So I was like, that's great. That's a great way to spend my money.
Sure, right.
But it was one of the best classes I've ever had, that module, and it really prepared us because you can plan all you want, life, God, other forces, whatever you want to believe in, they may have other plans for you.
Right.
You just have to be able to adapt.
Sure.
You have to be able to get down and dirty and do things yourself. So, it's not because you have certain education, you're the business owner, that you don't do certain things, even physical labor. So, at some point, we shipped product, and it was supposed to come to the US at a certain point. It never made it to the US. 4 or 5 months later, it was on the other side of planet Earth.
Oh, no.
We didn't know why.
Sure.
But we needed that product. This was during the first year after we closed our retail location. So it was very important for us to establish a solid reputation even after that.
Right.
So what we had to do is we had to fly product, make more of it, and fly it. Now we're talking several metric tons of product. That's like thousands and thousands of pounds. Imagine how much it costs you. People your age, maybe settling down, families and things like that,
right.
And you make the choice to take care of this baby, which is your business. So once we flew the product in, we spent a good 2 nights. Now when I say sleepless nights, I mean it in the literally sleepless.
Right.
Because for over 48 hours straight, we were packing things up and boxing and everything. We didn't necessarily have the time to do the quality control in here.
No.
So we ship it to our clients who trust us with their business, and I get that call. And it's like, what is happening with the product? And the product was not good. So not only did I have to pay for it to be done all over again, shipped through air cargo, and we paid for expedite shipping to our different clients, we had to recall the whole thing.
Oh no.
And that was one of those moments where, you really have to have a mission that is bigger than yourself to keep going, because it was so easy to close down at that point and say, sometimes things just don't work out.
What did you learn from that?
That I needed to, you just need to be ahead of things, right? There was no other way to learn that lesson. You had to go through it, That's it. You need to plan for these kind of things in the future, but as I said earlier, you have to have that ability to take a punch without falling. It's okay to fall down, and the ref is counting.
Right,
as long
right,
as you
sure.
make it back up before the 10 count is over. The other thing is you learn really a lot about yourself and how tough you are, and your ability to kind of bend destiny, even 1%, even a fraction, to your own will,
Right.
as opposed to just accepting, a loss or defeat and moving forward. And it's these kind of experiences that actually show you who you are.
If visionaries want to get in touch with the idea, how do they do that?
You can visit our website, kamsah.com, and then at info@kamsah.com. I read all emails, so I answer everybody.
Well, Dhia, this has been a real privilege. Thank you for joining us here on Small Business Celebration.
Thank you for having me. This has been really good.
And I'll be right back with my final thought.
The winter season is rapidly approaching, but are the tires on your car or truck ready for wet weather? Bakersfield's best tire store, Co-Owner Tire, has been serving families like yours for 80 years and installs and services the tires your family depends on when the wet weather comes. Give Co-Owner Tire a call at 661-324-6069 and ask them about what tire works best for you and your budget. Call Co-Owner Tire at 661-324-6069 or visit them at 530 East 21st Street in Bakersfield or at CoRootTire.com today. The wet winter weather is rapidly approaching. Call Co-Owner Tire at 661-324-6069 today.
And it makes all the difference in the world. Earlier when I was editing this episode, my wife came into the room and she came upon the segment where Dhia was showing us the very beautiful tile work from Tunisia. And as she gazed upon the screen, her eyes got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I asked her, honey, what's wrong? And she said, my head just exploded. And I asked her, why is that? You see, my wife grew up in Santa Barbara, California, and she said, everywhere that I went that used Spanish colonialism, I thought the tile was from Spain. I had no idea that it was from a totally different part of the world. Now, after we got done with our conversation, as I often do, I started thinking about my business, and I also started thinking about other businesses of other fellow visionaries. And it got me to thinking, we build our businesses and we build them with a specific type of look, a specific type of feel, the products and services that we offer. And yet, it's not until we make that one small change from someplace unrelated, a totally different part of the world, that changes everything. It makes a huge breakthrough in our business. It makes all the difference in the world. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Dhia Rabiai, the co-owner of Kamsah, and I hope you learned something that you can use today to grow a strong and profitable business. And we'll see you here again next week when we celebrate another small business making a big breakthrough. By the way, what do you call a ceramic artist who needs a shave? Harry Potter.
That should have been in the segment. Maybe we can close with that. That's actually a very good one.
Oh, thank you. Well, I cheat. I put it in the credits. So everybody sees
that's a good one, Harry Potter.
Welcome to Small Business Celebration. And our guest this week is Dhia Rabiai.